This is
Morreale and Hitch.
All right, Robbie, happy Wednesday, buddy. It's the Morreale and Hitch show on the Ticats Audio Network. I'm tired today, bud. I'm tired, bud.
You look it.
Tired. Thank you. Thank you. I set you up for that one. No, listen, it's great to be back. Been doing a lot of traveling. I got some traveling coming up. And I was in Vegas. I don't know if I'm built for Vegas anymore.
No,
I'm built. I feel like I'm built for it. I'm not sure I'm built for it like I used to be.
Well, 50, buddy. You're not used to that. You can't be. You can't be. How do you wake up when the sun comes up? You can't anymore. I can't.
No, I'm hurting. Tell you what, I'm hurting. Had a great time. Had an awesome time. Beautiful weather. People watching. You know what it's like. You just sit back, enjoy yourself. But yeah, the time changed. The flight. I'm 50. You're 55. And and we're getting old. Hey, did you listen to last week's show? This is episode number 2 for our one listener. We're on to number 2. I hope that person enjoyed last week's show. Between you and I, we have 3 listeners, you, me, and the other one. And listen, I thought it went great. You sounded very, very bad. You sounded like you're in a tin can, and it looks like you have the same setup today. So I'm glad things have really progressed.
I'm going to apologize, but I'm going to blame the producers on this one. we did. I sound like I'm in a can because I've got this massive screen in front of me and it's echoing in this room. And I've got a beautiful headset on. I don't know if nobody can see this yet, but it's my kids' gaming thing, and I think it's pretty cool, but it sounds like garbage. But next week we'll hopefully have it all taken care of.
Sounds like hot garbage. Now, if you remember hot garbage, we had a guy we played with who's a legend. We can't say his name. He wore number 1. That's all I can say.
We say his initials.
That's all I can say. Oh my God.
Well, I wasn't in the huddle with him, but I heard some stories about like Labor Day or a game in the summertime when that turf that we had, which we call the field at Ivor Wynne, the Astro turf.
Oh, it's terrible.
Remember the heat that came up? You'd be standing there. You would smell chewing tobacco. You would smell everything. It came right up into your nose. In that huddle, a couple of you guys would say, he used to come in from a route and say, I'm open. And as soon as he opened his mouth, the guys were almost barfing. That's how bad it was. I don't know because I wasn't in the huddle with them and I didn't want to get that close to him. But straight hot garbage.
Let's just say it happened. Let's just say that's a true story. Speaking of the turf, the worst turf ever. The worst ever. First of all, the old field that everyone had the worst turf in the history of the world. It was covered with geese on a regular basis. And then if you fell, which was often, and you skidded your arm on that stuff, instant staph infection. Without a doubt, you need a penicillin shot instantly. Yeah. It was bad. But like the locker room, we didn't know any different. We just went out there and had fun.
No, we had no idea, but I remember a few plays on that. Remember the huge Ticat in the middle of the field?
Oh my gosh.
It was probably 20 yards wide. And I think it got bigger and bigger because the turf kept tearing, so they just kept painting over it. And there was, honest to God, guys, when I say this, there had to have been 20 layers of paint on it.
Easily.
I used to trip in the middle of the field or slide. If it looked like an ice rink because I don't know what kind of oil-based paint they put on it. It was
lead-based. It was lead.
Well, hence my arms. Staph infections, like you couldn't clean it out. You had to get Pusky to flush that out every single time. Pusky was our trainer.
Oh, Pusky's a good dude. Pusky's a good dude. So
Gary.
Oh my gosh. Listen, we had some characters here. We'll just start off the show with the characters. Okay. Many of these guys may not be with us anymore. May they rest in peace, number 1.
Yes.
Number 2, their memory will live on forever with our group because these guys were legendary. And fans probably wouldn't know most of these names. We're talking about Side Door Gary, Electric Joe, Mike the telephone guy. We got Denny Bobs. and we got Vinny. That's just a small smattering of individuals who led us to back-to-back Grey Cups. Somehow never stepped on the field. We're on the team buses. We're in the locker room. We're on the Via trains, and we're in the team hotels. Not sure what any of them really did. It was amazing.
Well, we do know what they did. Side door Gary would open that side door after games and let us out and make sure that no fans came in. And he was pretty adamant about it.
Oh, he was adamant.
Guys would be, I know Hitch, I know BT. No, out, get out. Side door Gary, Bob's.
Oh, Denny Bob's might have been one of the best ever. One of the best ever.
4'1",
at least.
I don't even know if he was that big.
But people don't know, Rob. Remember, he lived basically in the basement of the locker room. People, at Ivor Wynne, when you came out the tunnel, you had to go down the stairs from the locker room into the pits of hell down there. You had your laundry machines, you had a cot, you had some rats, and you had whatever other remnants of stuff that has been kept over the years for the 65 years of Tiger Cats football. And then you went up the stairs to get out the tunnel, and that was a trip. And Denny Bob's basically lived in the basement with the sewing machine. The sewing machine. Yeah,
you remember the sewing machine?
Oh my God!
And we're not going to harp on these, but one last guy, and you're going to remember this: Electric Joe.
Oh gosh,
they never brought one certified electrician into Ivor Wynne for 20 years. Not a chance. Electric Joe, I don't even know if he had a license. He came in, there was open wires in the shower. There was open wires everywhere. And all I remember is Sudsy and the coaching staff, they loved him. He drank scotch with those guys.
Oh, yeah.
He fixed up, he put a plug in here and there. And he was part of a group that was legendary.
Legendary. Yeah. And Mike, the telephone guy, there was no telephone in the locker room, yet we're running cables all the time. There's always something going on. Vinny, who went on the scissor lift, loved the scissor lift. Remember training camp scissor lift? Put him up, 55 feet in the air, and then it'd start the lightning. We'd run inside, leave him out there. No key to get down. You had to climb down. Oh my God. But Denny Bobble, because Denny was the best.
Love him.
So when we were playing, the jerseys we had were like so long and so baggy and so terrible. I don't know if you remember back the starter jerseys, all that stuff, terrible jerseys. So we had Denny Bobolo, his job was that he was the part-time seamstress. So we'd go downstairs. You want it shortened. You want the sleeves tightened. You want it taken in a bit because you don't want the guys grabbing onto when you run by. So inevitably, I remember going to get my jersey fixed just before the game because we had no problem. He'd go down, fix it up, zip, zip, and we'd be up to run. I go it's ready to go outside. We just finished doing our Father, which, by the way, I don't know if we talked about this last week. Every time we did the Our Father, the way that our locker room was set up, I was the last guy in that row, right? So it was our little row where the high rent district, and then the rest, all the guys on the other side. It was me, you, Ozzy, and Grigor. And I always had to hold Ron's hands, Coach Lancaster's hands. Well, he already had 45 butts before he came in. So before every game, after holding his hand, I reeked like cigarette smoke, number one. Before we even stepped on the field, I smelled like I smoked 6 packs. So needless to say, after we do our Father, I go to put my jersey on, and he had trimmed it up nice and made it shorter at the bottom. I go to put my arms in. He sewed my sleeve shut. I couldn't put my arms through the sleeves of my jersey. For God's sakes, man. It was just one of those things. It was you just expected it.
Yeah, expected it, but how quick did you get that X-Acto knife and cut that off?
Guaranteed.
Then it was just flapping in the wind.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There was no fixing it at that point. Get your sleeves sewed up shut before you step on the field. The crews that hung around, I loved every one of them. I had no idea what they did there. We gave them the nicknames because that's what they did. So Electric Joe's Electric Joe because once in a while he'd play with a couple electrical appliances. A side door Gary opened the side door, and Mike, the telephone guy, did something with telephones. And Denny Bob's, well, he did a little bit of everything. And Vinny was a nightmare. He was crazy.
Yeah. And then they brought in Billy Cyrus. What do we call him?
Billy Ray.
Billy Ray. The little skinny
boy.
guy. He's probably about 40 now. And I'll never forget that one time when, and this is classic. This is really classic. We used to have the 5-gallon or 10-gallon jugs of Gatorade. And you guys, you really have to picture our locker room, kind of, 40, 50 feet long by 25, maybe, and just players all around the outside of it. Washroom was at the back right corner, 3 stalls, couple showers that were leaking all the time, sinks leaking all the time. And I go in because I forgot one of my gloves or something, and I go in and everyone's on the field, and I run back in, and he's making Gatorade in the bathroom. And do you remember the hose that was underneath the sink?
Oh yeah, no, okay, but that sink, bro, that hose also filled the hot tub and stayed in there.
And stayed about 7 feet from the urinals. Yes. on the ground with pubic hair, everything around it. And this kid, I'll never forget it. He had the hose inside of the big 10-gallon, 5-gallon, whatever it was. He had the hose filling up the Gatorade. The hose was right inside the Gatorade. And he was using his arm to stir it.
His arm was purple.
It was purple. He came out, it was purple. Those stories, I'm telling you, I looked at him. He looked at me, and he was about 60 pounds. And he looks at me, and he goes, Hitch. I said, I didn't see anything, but I'm not drinking that today. And I think he was going to have a heart attack. I never said a word except for the guys.
Except for this. Except for right now.
Yeah, except for right now. I think you and I and Grigor and Ozzy knew, but the other guys didn't know. They drank nothing. We didn't.
They loved it. They loved it. It was a great mix that day. He had the whole arm. He got right up to the armpit, eh? Got the whole arm and armpit in there. It was perfect.
Oh, my gosh. That was awesome.
Oh, there was good times, my friend. Some things are just unbelievable. Just some unbelievable stuff.
Yeah. Well, I gotta talk too. I sent this link out our first show last week. I sent it to, you should see the crew of guys I play hockey with. Thursday nights, about 10 years I've been playing with these guys. Now this is a crew too that goes back.
You got a few knuckleheads.
Yeah, we got a few knuckleheads. And there's first thing. I got Morreale sounded great. You sound like garbage. That's good. Why is Morreale's name in front of yours? I said, well,
I knew that was coming.
We're gonna talk about that. That these characters had nothing but good things to say about it. And I thought, you know what? Except for my garbage, whatever I'm using right now, but they said it's actually well done, and they would support. 3 of them out of 16 would support it.
That's good. That's better than usual.
It is. Now they liked it. They actually really liked it, and I said, okay. Well, they said, how long did you guys talk about this? I said, I swear to God, I said, Mike and I did not talk to each other beforehand. We just go so far back that we could talk for hours.
Yeah.
And they're pretty cool about it, but they're definitely interested in keeping this thing going. So hey, let's keep doing it.
Well, listen, you know what our prep was this morning? You texting me about 3 minutes before saying I can't get on the link. The link doesn't work. I got to send you the link. Then something else doesn't happen. Then you come on, you can't see anything. You don't know how to press the button to show your video.
Computer.
You have a screen that's 45 feet wide in your house.
I'm not using that one. I'm using the old one.
Oh, for gosh sakes.
Listen, I gotta talk about it, the training camp back in 1998 when.
Let's do it.
When Flutie, McManus, and Ronnie, they all came at the same time. Do you remember the beautiful mornings around 6:15? Now you got to picture this. If anyone knows Brock University, they had it's called the Village. That was their residence. Back right corner. They're probably 50 years old now, these places, but they had these little corridors like in the middle, like with a little seat and everything inside. And every morning, about the second day in, about 6:15, all you hear is Ozzy Osbourne and Darren Flutie playing Ozzy Osbourne. He playing the guitar, and he had his big amp out there, and you could hear that from my house in St. Catharines. That's how he woke everybody up. Do you remember that?
That training camp was unbelievable because it like bringing those guys in, and we're all excited because we're the stayovers from 97. We were not very good from a record wise, but we had a good group of guys. And then these guys come in. We didn't know what to make with Ron, right? Ron was a legend, an absolute legend. and you had Danny Mack and Darren and it was like we didn't know what to do. And we realized pretty quick, these guys are good guys. This is going to be a fun year. Started with Ozzy Osbourne. We happened to have a beer room every day at training camp that was packed, and the guys could play. That was fun.
Oh, really fun. And I think the best part of that camp was we were gelling so quickly together. And all I would look, Ozzy, I should say our kicker. I don't know if we should say a name, but I already.
Well, who else was there in our
Ozzy,
time?
that's pretty old. And Grigor was the punter sometimes. So Ozzy would come in and warm up for about 4 seconds, do about 3 punts, and then we would just work on offense, defense, and some little bit of special teams with no kicker. And we would be looking around for Ozzy. Where is he? He'd have a bike because the residence was about 12 seconds away, but he didn't want to walk. So he took his bike, put his helmet on his bike, and we look over at him a few times. He's gone for like gone. We come back. He's sitting on the bleachers with some fans, eating a burger in his helmet.
Oh yeah, pulling French fries out of his helmet. He went down the hill to frickin' Burger King and got himself something to eat while we were practicing.
Yeah.
Honest to God.
But he didn't have to do it because he was the best kicker in the league.
He does. And then when he did punt, he went on the other field by himself. Remember? He just punted away by himself. Little Vinny ran, caught the ball, ran it back, punt again, caught the ball. We were dying.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. The good times we had over there.
It was good. Like, the good times continue, right? Yeah. They're just different now.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they're not as good. Let's be honest. They're not as good. They're not as good as they used to be.
We elaborated on it last week, but if they had cell phones and all that stuff.
Oh dear. Yeah. Wouldn't be right at all for anybody. Hey, we haven't done in a couple of years. The women's football. What did we call that thing?
It was huddles
and heels.
But then it turned to another name, and I don't remember it. But it went to ladies and
something.
Yeah.
The gist of it is this: Rob and I served as coaches / hosts of this great event that we did. We must have done this 6 or 7 times at least.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
6 or 7 times throughout the year, a couple times a year at some point, like one in the kind of the summer, one in the later fall. And there'd be 100 and so women, and they'd come to the new stadium, and we'd host them, do a bit of a coaches clinic. We'd take them on the field, and we'd just run them through drills, and we'd be joined by the likes of Simone Lawrence and a bunch of other guys that came out to help us, Mike Filer, etc. And it turned into a great time. But I'm not quite sure all the ladies really showed up just to play football. I'm not quite sure. Because when the limos started rolling up and they started rolling out, I figured, okay, there's some ulterior motives here. These ladies are just out to have a good time, which, by the way, God bless, they should take advantage of that situation. But I think football took a bit of a back seat sometimes.
Yeah, they weren't paying attention to our whiteboards.
Not very much.
We did have for about, I think we did it 8 times, like 2 a year for 3 or 4 years. So there was a couple of them that were, a couple of ladies that were in their 70s that came and sat at the front row and just asked us questions. And they had they had questions upon questions, and we couldn't get through them all. The other ones were just kind of looking for the current players. The 60 and 70-year-olds are sitting up front for us. And then the young ones were waiting for the young players to come in. And you saw how different it was on one side to the other.
There was different levels of excitement.
Yes.
There's the younger crew was a little more excited when the current guys came out. Respectfully, I get it. Yeah. I mean, but you and I, we need some adoration every so often, no? I mean, I think we should deserve a little something, but we held down the older crew. We held those down, Rob. We held it down.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
The majority of them were there for us.
Yeah. Hey, why not?
Yeah. We have to say that.
We should do it again. We should do it again.
COVID killed us.
I know.
Yeah. COVID killed us. And they had sellouts, 120 women twice a year. Yeah, you said we did it in, I think, July or August, and then we did it again in October. And
Yeah,
like you said, it was pretty structured. It was great. Cats put it on. We went up there. We talked kind of the Coles Notes version about football, and not just to look at quarterback dropping back and where the ball's being thrown. Like, remember, we teach them, like, look at the inside of the defensive line and watch the twist game and watch this. And they actually, a lot of them were kind of never.
A lot of them were drunk, Rob. A lot of them were drunk.
I guess so. I still like to think that we did teach a few.
We did. I think there was definitely, it was, first of all, I enjoyed it. It was a great time. I think the ladies enjoyed it. They kept coming back. We had repeat offenders, man. We had people that came every single time. And we didn't change the curriculum too often. So I think they heard the same story.
Just some players, but we changed it a little tiny bit, just to conform to who was coming, because we knew who was coming again. But I think we're going to definitely do it next year, because this year is not going to enable us to do it. But I think it'll be good.
Hey, listen, you were at the game this past weekend. Good victory.
It was a great victory. I was on the sidelines doing some radio, and I talked once a quarter, which was great. Sometimes twice. It was great to see. It was a boring game, the first half, but for a defensive guy and a special teams guy, I actually loved what Hamilton, even Calgary was playing well. But when people say to me, what was going on? The offense wasn't moving the ball. They weren't throwing it up the field. Well, that was a game plan for Watford. I mean, that's the type of guy. He was a receiver in the NFL, and came up.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, he was a receiver. Came up and played some quarterback in college, and then went to the NFL for a receiver, and then came back up here as a quarterback. But this guy's put together. How about Gerald? If anyone knows Gerald Vaughn? Gerald Vaughn used to play with us, and he was cut out of a stone. Remember him? Like you couldn't. He probably had minus 2% body fat on this guy. But Watford looked at him like, holy cow, this guy is not put together like a quarterback. But they had a great game plan for him. Ran the ball, little outlet passes, and they did what they had to do to win the game. It doesn't matter how you do it. It was a bit boring in the first half, or from fans, or I was hearing some boos behind me as I was getting beer dumped close to me. Again, offering beers. Hitch, have a beer. I said, I can't. I gotta come on. As he's taking a sip out of it, tries to hand me the beer like I'm going to take it and drink it. No, thank you, but no, thank you.
This is true story. As crazy as it sounds, but back in our day when we were in 899 and we're ripping through lots of wins those years, I had a buddy of mine in the stands behind our bench at old Ivor Wynne, that around the third quarter, if we were up in a healthy lead, I'd put the empty Gatorade bottle on the ledge, just on the ledge behind the bench, and he'd fill it up with some Smirnoff Ice for me. And in about the fourth quarter, I thought, hey, maybe I'll have a little sip of Smirnoff, out of the Gatorade bottle. So that happened, and we won a lot of games, so I feel good about it now. But perhaps in looking back, having a drink of Smirnoff Ice in the fourth quarter of a game probably wasn't the best idea. I'm just thinking that now.
Well, especially when you thought you weren't going back in, because
yeah, exactly.
How about this one? We're in Ottawa. We have one game to play. We're in the playoffs already. And I won't even say the days. It's the 99 team or the 98 team. 99 team, I think.
99.
99, I think it was. And a lot of us weren't playing. Coach told us we're not playing. It was like 5 of us that weren't playing. So we go out for dinner the night before, and there was some rice and some red wine. There was some stuff poured that night. Oh, we had a couple of.
Well, we didn't think we were playing, right? We coach had already give us hey guys, we already clinched the playoff spot. Last game of the year. Don't worry about it.
So what happened? We have a few drinks. We have a bit of a hangover.
Afternoon game too.
Afternoon game, and it poured. Awful. Like torrential downpour for 4 hours. It was unbelievable. So here's the story. We get out. One guy gets hurt. And there's a shortened roster back. If 2 guys get hurt, someone's going in somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even have gloves. I didn't bring them out, nothing. All of a sudden, Hitch, you got to go in. Someone got Kyle Walter. Somebody got ninged up. I said, you got to be kidding me. I was green.
Same thing happened to me. I was dying.
So what happens? I'm on I think we're on about the 30-yard line. I'm playing about 25 yards deep because I don't want to run anywhere. And I'm just waiting. Everything comes underneath. What do? I bite up on a dig right underneath, and he throws the ball over my head, and this guy runs for like 70 yards. And I look back. I didn't even turn and run. You should have seen it on film. The eye in the sky does not lie.
No, it does not lie.
They said, "What are you doing?" I said, "You could smell it on our breath." And they're like, I think we were still drunk.
We weren't supposed to play. I think somebody played a trick on us. I swear to God, this was a bad trick. And I will never forget it because it was a horrible day. It was if everybody has ever been to Ottawa late in the year, it is awful. It is the coldest place on earth. It's damp. You're in the valley, and it was raining and disgusting and windy and freezing. And we were hungover because we weren't supposed to play, apparently.
But we could have been a little smarter. Maybe not.
We could have been probably a lot smarter. Smarter. But we wouldn't have this to talk about now.
No, that's true. I was going through trying to figure out some stories too. O'Shea, Coach O'Shea from the Argos, like one of the best linebackers I think ever to play in this league.
Oh God, yeah.
There's a lot of great ones, but leading tackler I think in the history. He was with us in Hamilton for a bit and then went to Toronto. And the one year, I don't know how I remember this. It was about 8:00 at night. We finished our meetings. I think we were at Brock, and a few of us drove to Toronto, and we filled his new Jeep up with popcorn.
Oh yes, with the big bags from like Cineplex.
Yeah, we got like 4 of those bags, and we filled his front seats, back seats full to the top with popcorn, and then we drove home. We got home by 8:00. He had no clue. Well, he knew, but that type of stuff, I don't know. He got us back somehow. I don't know.
He was a legend, Rob. He got me back many times.
Yeah,
many times with the same trick, and I kept falling for it. One was he had the shitty diaper trick, and he had 2 ways of getting you. One was, this is when he was having some young kids, so he'd save up the dirty diapers at home, and he'd roll them up. He'd bring him into the locker room without anyone knowing. And then occasionally, if you left your keys somewhere or your car door was open, he'd just slide it nicely, like under your front seat, so you'd never know it's there. And on a nice hot day, in the middle of August, after it's been there for probably, a week and it's fermenting, you would open up that car door. Oh, it's like getting punched right in the face. In the face. And you never know where it's coming from. You're like, did I step and stomp it? You're looking at the bottom of your shoe. You don't know what's going on. He crushed me with that many times. But the worst one, same thing. He'd go store his little crappy diapers wherever he stored them because he was an animal. And then he'd take them and he'd put them underneath your windshield wiper on a rainy day. So when you get in the car, you're not paying attention. You put your wiper on and there he goes. And then the dirty his kid's crap all over the front window as it's wiping back and forth. That is typically how you deal. This is what this guy did. Yeah. He was an animal.
Yeah. He was unbelievable. He probably got me too with a few things. I had no idea. He probably got me too.
Oh no, you had no idea. Everybody got you.
I would have.
You had no idea.
No, I had no idea. Maybe that's what's wrong with me right now. He had no idea about that popcorn. We laughed and laughed on the way home. Oh my gosh.
Listen, speaking of other things this guy did. So the one year, I think I was playing in Hamilton. It was the year I left Toronto, come back to it doesn't matter. And I had some of the Argos and Ticat guys over the house. I was living in Burlington at the time. So we were playing some cards, some poker, and just having a good time. And, at the time I was married to a young Hamilton lady. People probably know who she is, a sweetheart. But she was away. So the boys came over. Next thing you know, we're downstairs. I look up. Guys are wearing her bras and panties on for no reason. No reason. come down to somehow in my room, going through the drawers, come down to bras and panties. No idea why. That started off the night. And then obviously they're getting hammered. We're playing cards. It's loud and boisterous. It was fine. I made the mistake, but I had to shut it down. I couldn't stay up anymore. Like, these guys are animals. I shut it down at about 2 or 3 in the morning. I said, I'm going to bed. I don't care what you guys do. Going to bed. Worst mistake of my life. I woke up in the morning to the sounds of honking horns about 8 in the morning. I look outside. These guys have taken every piece of furniture out of my house and put it on the front lawn of my house. I'm living alone at this point because my wife's not there. Put my whole house, TVs, stereos, couches, dining room tables, chairs, whatever, on my front lawn, and honking and waving as they leave. Then it started to rain. So it's raining. I've got all my furniture on the front lawn, and here's me by myself trying to lift a Chesterfield or a couch or a sofa into the house. This, never fall asleep when you have your buddies over, and especially if they're idiots and they've been drinking. You can't fall asleep.
No.
Not for a second.
No, you can't.
Oh, man. Why are these guys my friends? Why are they even my friends? They treat me like that.
Because we would have done the same.
Did the same thing. That's exactly what. That was just payback. I left out the other stories of the stuff we did to them. First of all.
Yeah. We didn't do too much. Bailey.
Yeah. Hey, do you remember the claw, Rob? Remember the claw?
Oh.
You remember the claw.
I remember the claw. That glove didn't come off for the whole year.
Not the whole year.
Grabbing.
You got to tell them about the claw.
Well, I won't say who.
Wow.
Yeah, we can.
We can say who.
Yeah. Gonzalo Floyd.
Oh, one of my favorite people.
Honestly, phenomenal football player. The end. And he was a character. Everyone had characters, but this guy would come from the States and he would live with a girl for free.
Never paid for a thing.
Never paid. I think he played for us for 6 years and never paid rent for 6 years. He would just find.
Didn't pay a phone bill, rent, gas, a car, food, nothing.
Nothing. Took all his check, his 38 grand a year he was making, and brought it home with him. And by the time he got it switched to US, at that time it was probably 67 cents to the dollar. So he brought home 18,000. So, anyways, he would come in and he'd have this glove, and he would dip that into.
But it was taped up. Remember, taped and dirty and sweaty and.
So like a full practice or a full game, dirty. He used to pee himself at the game. Remember? It's disturbing. It was freezing cold, and he thought if he peed his pants, it would be warm, but not knowing it's going to freeze after. But anyways, that's the type of guy. Love him. He had this claw. And he used to, if we brought chicken in, like sometimes the lunch would be brought in or the donuts would be brought in, that claw would be, he would just make a point of digging that tape thing into the chicken thing, the Kentucky Fried Chicken, into the bowl, into the bucket. He would do that. And that glove, of course, he wore that for a year. That thing.
He'd scratch his pits with it. He'd scratch his ass with the glove. He'd be in other people's pits. Ooh.
Yeah.
Awful.
Loved him though, my God.
And then you'd be sitting at the table in the middle of the locker room with these long, like, those folding tables that we had. And it was probably 30 feet long, and we'd play crib and we'd eat. We would practice at 1:30. We'd be there at 8:30 in the morning. All of us. Every time playing cards, hanging out.
Foosball.
You playing foosball. Jerry Kraft. Jerry Kraft. Oh my God.
We have time for it?
Of course we have time for it.
Guys,
Please, Rob.
This foosball, we had tournaments, and it would get, we'd be throwing elbows into this foosball tournament. So Jerry Kraft came from, I think he was with Buffalo Bills, right? Came in, size, 6'9"?
Oh, massive.
360? Easily. He's sitting at the far end by the washrooms because the old line sat on that far end with the quarterbacks at the far back. And we're playing foosball and we're into it. And this ball gets kicked and it's out of the game, and it goes all the way into his lap or into his feet. And he's looking at us because he's just meeting us for the first time.
That's right. He just got there.
And this little white ball is in between his feet. And no one really wants to walk over there because he's got no towel on. He's just sitting there naked at 360. And we're like, hey, you want to throw the ball over? He goes, no. I'm like, okay. So we start walking over. He picks it up. He turns around. He jams it in his ass, and he throws it back at us. And who catches it? Gregor. Gregor caught it. Oh my God, he caught this, and we're like, oh, he didn't see it jamming in his culo. And that was our introduction to
Jerry Kraft.
Oh my God.
He abused that ball. He abused it.
I'm surprised it wasn't gone. 360.
Oh yeah.
You could lose that easy. That's like his hemorrhoids are bigger than that. Oh my God.
Yeah, and hemorrhoids so big he had to step on him before he got up. He sat down, he stepped on him, and as he stood up, they snapped. That's how big they were. Oh, for God's sakes. The good old days, buddy. We don't even, this is the funny thing. We just talk. And wherever this thing goes, it goes. Yeah. So if you came here for current events, you're probably not going to get too many current events. You may get some. There was an election last night.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
It's a minority government.
It's the same. I think the same thing has happened. We just wasted $600 million to figure it out.
Yeah. We will definitely talk about some current things, but we're not going to run out of any ammo. Like we've got ammo for about a year.
Yeah, we got ammo for days.
What do you think?
So your buddies are mad, eh? It's not Hitch and Morreale?
Yeah, they're a little bit, no, they asked why. And I said, well, hey, it's always been that way. And I could tell the story because this would probably be a good one to bring up now. And this just whole relates to your name before mine. So picture this, everybody. We are cut from the Ticats in 2007. And I want to
forced retirement, Rob. Forced
retirement. I'm watching David Attenborough's nature show with Ray Berryuse, and I get the knock on the door, and next thing you know, I'm gone home. And then you were cut after.
Oh, yeah.
So,
oh, boy.
About 6 months later, this is training camp in June that we got released. And they asked us to retire. Well, we retired. So we retired as Ticats in Labor Day game. So CBC's there. Mark Walby's doing the game with Mark Lee. Remember Mark Lee?
Chris Walby. Who's Mark Walby?
Oh, that's what I said. Mark. Yeah, I haven't seen him in about 15 years as the big Sasquatch. They're doing the game, and they said, you guys have an extra 5 minutes. And we're like, okay, so we have to do a speech. They had a full, Ticats put on a great thing for us.
Oh, this the Labor Day. This
is the Labor Day retirement.
Laid them out of the tunnel.
Yeah, our actual retirement day. And
gotcha.
They had a great day for us. And halftime, we got to speak. So Leslie Stewart is doing the hosting and the emceeing for it. And we're in the middle of the field. It's a gorgeous day. The place is packed.
Beautiful day.
Gorgeous day. And they said, okay, you guys got an extra 5 minutes. So they had the halftime went for an extra 5. So Leslie said, okay, Mike grabbed, of course, you grabbed the mic first. You talked for 8 minutes and 45 seconds. Leslie says, Rob, you got 1 minute and 30 left. I'm like, I actually had to grab the mic from you. And you took the whole show. And I said, oh, by the way, thank you very much, everyone, the crowd, the fans, you guys are the best. I love it. And the music started and then finished. I was done. But I didn't even get to say what I really wanted to. Thank you, my father and my family. You, 8 minutes and 45 seconds you took and left me. Minute 15 you left me.
Liz, you're lucky you got 1 minute and 15. You're lucky. I got pulled up early. Early on that one.
You did pull up. I actually tried to pull it from you a couple times. Kick your back.
Listen, I don't mind talking, eh? You give me a mic. I don't mind talking. I feel bad. I should have given you another 5-10 seconds. I should have allowed you, at least based on your career, the fact you played every year in Hamilton, I probably should have given you a few more seconds.
But
in hindsight,
that's why you got me back. What did I do?
You got me back. You're on the Wall of Honor. We talked about this. You got your time in the sun.
Yeah, I guess I didn't need to talk. I didn't need to talk.
You didn't need to talk.
Maybe if I talked, I wouldn't be on the wall.
That's right. That was my last chance. Maybe I had to soak it all up. You had another chance. Who are you kidding?
That's true.
You don't have to worry about it.
That was funny.
Listen, the longer you talk, the more stupid things come out of your mouth. That's just guaranteed.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Natural.
So I saved you from saying something bad.
You know what? I probably would have. Oh,
Hey.
hear my dog?
Yeah. What's the dog's name?
Hooper. Oh,
Hooper. Bob Hooper. Oh, rest in peace, Bob.
Yeah.
Speaking of radio hosts, your dad was a hell of a radio host back in the day. Remember, he used to do the games.
Oh.
The PA, and I loved it. He loved it.
Well, oh my gosh! I think he's my dog right now. He's barking.
Somebody choke the dog.
No, choke him out. Yeah. God rest. My dad's been gone for 8 years. Absolutely love the Ticats as a PA announcer, and all the guys were always telling me Hitchcock made the tackle, and he was the PA guy, and I would be on the sidelines, not even on that special teams. And Hitchcock made the tackle. No wonder I'm the leading tackler in the whole history. My dad did the stats for 1 year, and I think I had 160 tackles that year. I wasn't even on the field.
It wasn't on the field. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah. I'm kidding, by the way. Maybe a couple of times that happened. Oh,
he certainly would have announced you made the tackle. He certainly would have announced it.
Very proud. Very proud. As both of our dads.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We lucked out.
Great families. Yep.
Hey, how did you end up, for those people that don't know, Rob played 12 years in Hamilton. Well, people know this. People that are listening to this know you played 12 years in Hamilton. But you played 3 games in Edmonton.
Yeah.
And the last game you ever played was in Hamilton wearing an Edmonton uniform. How cool is that?
Well, you remember the story. I got called by Danny Machocha. And this might take about 2 minutes, but Danny Machocha called me up, and I thought it was actually you playing a joke on me.
I wish it was.
This is after we retired. So this was in October, and there was 3 games left in the season. And I got a call from Coach Machocha. And I actually said to him, I go, "Who is this? This is bullshit. Who is this?" And he said it 3 times. It's Coach Machocha from the Eskimos, which is now the Elks. And so I finally, I still didn't believe it because I thought it was just a joke that one of you guys were playing against me. And then all of a sudden, Dan Kepley, who was the linebackers coach.
The best.
Hall of Fame linebacker. He gets
Hall of Fun, too. He was Hall of Fun.
Oh, he was. He gets on, he starts yelling, "Hitchcock, we need you to come down here. We got a playoff run, blah, 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 blah." And I was like, okay, I need some time to take this in. And I called you right away. I remember you were the first call I called, and I told you, I said, "What do you think about me doing this?" Because we retired together, and I kind of wanted you to kind of have the same as I did. And I never forget what you told me, and then you got this opportunity. You go out the way you want, so go and do it. So I ended up taking off. And the coolest part of the story, I think it's 2 parts of it, is when I got down there, I was thinking, what number am I going to wear? Because I wore 42 here for 12 years, and Dan Kepley wore 42, and his number was retired and on the wall for 26 years. He pulled it off the shelf and said, "You deserve." Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Who does that? This guy pulled his number off the shelf and said, "No one's worn this in 26 years. You can wear it. I want you to wear it. You have every right to." And I cried. Oh,
absolutely. This is a legend, Rob. Dan Kepley is a legend. Yeah. And that was, when I heard that, I was like, oh man, that's intense.
Wore that and did not know that the last game of the season was in Hamilton against the Cats. And this is probably the coolest part is we're there and warming up, and it was really weird wearing a green and gold jersey with my number on it in that stadium. It was pretty emotional. But right before the game, they asked us, I think we were doing a defense, and they wanted me to run the team out. Right. And I'm like, not quite sure. I don't know. I'm not rubbing anything in here like I'm playing again. But the whole team ended up coming in, and they announced the whole Edmonton Eskimo team, and I led them out. And I got to about the 20-yard line, and there was a standing ovation from Ivor Wynne. And I looked back, and the whole Edmonton team was on the goal line, and I was by myself on the 20-yard line. I didn't know this.
That's awesome.
I looked back, and I had a standing ovation, and it was probably one of I would say the greatest the greatest times in my life as a player to be recognized from the fans, even from a guy going to another team. And the reason why I did is you never, as a player, you never go out the way you want to. You didn't, I didn't, and then I had an opportunity to. And Edmonton said to me after that game, they would sign me back for another year. And I said, I have nothing to prove. I had a great career and I'm done. I appreciate the opportunity, and that was it. So it was pretty cool, really cool.
That is cool. That's why I wanted you to do it, because you never would have had that story. That's a nice little, bow on the end of a long and awesome career. And this has been a long and awesome podcast, but guess what? I got work to do. You got some studying to do. Fans got better things to do than listen to us for the last 40 minutes. But let's keep it going. We'll do this again next week. We'll do it every Wednesday on the Ticats Audio Network. And that's it. That's the sign off from me. Rob, you got your sign off? Ciao. Peace. Ciao. We'll talk to you guys later.